Welcome to another episode of ARWP. And should I say Happy Halloween? Because this is a Halloween episode. He is the Reverend of Sin. He is Ryzin.
Hello, thank you for having me, and happy Halloween.
Thank you for having time to come and talk to me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Anytime it's the devil's holiday, you know that I have to be near.
Of course. All right. Well, let's talk about, the whole story. Let's talk about you being a pro wrestler. How did the devil make you a wrestler? Why did he send you up here to do what you do?
Well, actually, it's been quite a journey before I became the Reverend of Sin. I've been obsessed with professional wrestling as long as I can remember. So even as early as elementary school, kindergarten, even sooner than that. But I've always been obsessed with professional wrestling, and I knew even back then that that's what I was going to do in my future. My grandmother actually kept all of my schoolwork, if you could believe that. And one of the things that I still have to this day is a document from kindergarten saying, when I grow up, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. Of course, the spelling's atrocious, but who can fault me at that young age? But you could clearly see that I was going to be a pro wrestler. And I never wanted to be a fireman, never wanted to be a cop. I had always wanted to pursue the world of professional wrestling.
All right, amazing. And tell me about, your first match. Tell me about you lacing up the boots. Tell me about how that must have been.
Well, I actually had my first independent wrestling match when I was 17. So I had actually began training around 14 or 15 for a school in Colorado where I'm originally from. And I basically began my training at that point. I took a little bit of a hiatus because I felt at the age 14, 15, I was getting thrown around and bumped and bruised a little too much. Because I was kind of a punching bag at that age. As you might imagine, people were able to pick me up very easy, do power bombs, do all the crazy stuff. And so when I finally became 17, I really dove right in with my partner at that time. And together we were able to reach the independence. So when I first had my first professional or independent professional match, it was in August of 2003. And I was able to wrestle a tag match with my partner. And that very first show, if you could believe that, I got a concussion, if you could believe that. So hard luck on that. Wasn't anything that I did wrong or anything that the opponent did wrong. It was just one of those accidents. I got picked up for like a spine buster, and the back of my head hit the back of his shoe in an awkward bump. But, knock on wood, it was all uphill from there. So...
So tell me, it's got to have a lot of courage to want to go back into the game after a concussion, having that happen to you. What made you say, this is just part of the journey, I'm going to keep going?
Well, it's just, again, it's a desire, it's an obsession, it's something that I had always wanted to do, so it didn't really matter if, what had happened to me. Especially when you're young and invincible in those years. So when it came down to it, I was absolutely, not turned off from it, not turned away from it. It was just part of the business. And again, gratefully that was, one of the very few times that I had ever got knocked a little loopy or anything like that. Everything had been uphill from there. So there was no doubt in my mind, and I didn't think twice, even after, a small little bump in the road like that.
All right. Amazing. So tell me about all this. How did you find yourself in wrestling?
How did I find myself as in the Reverend of Sin persona?
Of course.
Okay. Well, when I had initially started and once I grew as an independent wrestler, I was the Denver Daredevil, Rob Ryzin. And that was my character, if you would. And basically all it was the hometown hero who was willing to do anything and everything to secure victory. But once I had made the move to Florida, there was actually a discussion I had when I had done a tryout at Impact Wrestling, where they had asked, well, what is a Rob Ryzin? What does a Rob Ryzin do? What is your backstory? And when I sat there and I thought about it, I realized, I didn't really have one other than being like the good old hometown hero of Denver, Colorado. But now I've lived in Florida, and I have always been a big fan of the occult, or a follower of the occult and things of that nature. I've always been into horror and the horror genre and a lot of that kind of stuff. And Halloween, of course, is my favorite holiday and always has been. So just the dark kind of macabre lifestyle had always enticed me. So when it came down to actually thinking about what to do or to transition the character, there was only one road to go down, and I've been the most comfortable in this role being the Reverend of Sin. I dropped Rob off the name to sound more brooding, and became just the Reverend of Sin, Ryzin, and that has, of course, been my character for now the probably 5 or 6 years, and has really grown every year since inception.
All right, awesome. That's really awesome to hear. So tell me about, what you want to do for the future to add on to your character. Like, we've seen you on multiple platforms wrestling. We've seen so much coming from it. Like with gear, you have one of the coolest gear. I'm a big fan of the Halloween gear, the orange one that you wore in AEW. A really big favorite of that one. But tell me what else you plan to do to evolve the character.
Well, anybody in the world of professional wrestling, any wrestling character or any individual for that matter should always be progressing. They should always be wanting to move their character forward. And I am no different. Some of the things that you have seen, I've been very fortunate to have a nice string of matches for All Elite Wrestling. And so anything and everything that I can do to progress my character within that company is, of course, my number one mission or my number one initiative right now. But on the independents, everywhere you go, you need to invest in yourself, and that's the most important thing. So your gear should always look as professional as possible. So from head to toe, your Reverend attire, I waste no expense in making sure that I look my absolute best. And I think that that's something that everybody should take into account if they want to be professionals in the world of professional wrestling. As far as evolving the character, I have a million ideas swirling all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't stop. So I have lots of video ideas. I have been very instrumental in a lot of videos that have been popular on the internet, such as Matt Hardy's Free the Delete, and of course the AEW stuff as well. And I'm going to continue to push the character as well in a very horror-esque environment on social media, because these days getting that content out there is king. So content is king, and so any and every way possible, plus branding and merchandising, which I'm a huge proponent of, making sure that any way to get an action figure or a slam buddy or something into their hands, or even a best-selling book, as you can see here. So any and every way to do something that stands out and to push your brand, I'm all for it.
That's phenomenal. I love that. I love that you're open to merchandise. I love that you're open to, being your own author. I love that you have so much coming up with yourself. So my thing is, I saw a post today on your social media about your big cult, about how your cult keeps on increasing, how it keeps on. What is the plan in the future? Would you ever go for a tag team division? Would you ever leave the singles run and maybe find an apprentice? Maybe like a Batman or Robin or something, similar to that. Would you ever take on someone?
That's a fantastic question. And when it is on the independents, there are certain places where I actually have a tag team partner. For instance, Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling that runs out of Cocoa, Florida. I do have a partner in Zach Monstar, and together we are the Satanic Panic. And I have, of course, been known to team up with people from time to time. And when it comes to, more larger scale companies like AEW, of course, I would love to continue the singles run, but they have plagued me with these tag team partners. And these tag team partners always seem to drop the ball when they get tagged into the match. So when it comes to tag team wrestling in AEW, your Reverend of Sin is not defeated. My partners have always taken the 1, 2, 3, and for that, I think that the pursuit of a different partner is definitely on the horizon when it comes to my character, when it comes to Ryzin. So I'm definitely open to any and all possibilities, and of course, growing my congregation and making sure that the Reverend of Sin is heard loud and clear.
All right, phenomenal. All right, so tell me in your pick, who would you want to tag with? Out of everyone in the AEW roster, who do you think the perfect tag partner that wouldn't drop the ball?
That is a very good question, and I look to my congregation, who often tell me what they would like to see. And my congregation is very loud and very vocal, thinking that I would make sense with Project Chaos, which is Serpentico and Luther. Obviously, a lot of people assume that I would be a great member, a reverend to the Dark Order, which would make sense as well. So those are two very viable options. And then something that is nonstop, like prayers in my ear. I constantly hear people want a mixed tag division in AEW, and they want to see me resurrect Abadon and have mixed tag team action with her. So I do think that there are any and all of those elements, but very much the last one. I think whether as a mouthpiece or as just somebody who can summon somebody like her, I think that would be very beneficial and very interesting as well.
Wow, I didn't even think of most of those. I had a couple, but I didn't think of most of them. That's interesting. I've never even. Wow, that'll be really amazing.
Let's put you in the hot seat. Who would you team me with if you had your chance?
Well, Serpentico and Luther. That was my pick. I thought that maybe you'd be not the mouthpiece, but more of the manager, more of if you remember the whole storyline between Rosemary on Impact with I forgot his name, but I'm a really bad interviewer. with the Father James Father James Mitchell, yeah. And Jessica Havoc, I thought you would have a role there where you could control them, where you can tell them what to do or how to do it and how to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was also a very big fan of the Decay in Impact Wrestling. So Crazy Steve and Rosemary and Abyss, I think that they were a great unit. So when it comes to some of those, I really do see that there are plenty of people that would fit my congregation nicely.
Yeah, there's so many people. Like when you look at WWE, you have The Fiend, you have Demon Kane. I'm pretty sure you can have an entire roster of just followers and who plague to the devil and rise. There's definitely a lot of things you could do with that. But let's go back to AEW, because I think that's where we're watching you currently. That's where I believe you want us more to be vocal with. Tell me who you'd want to face. What are some names on your bucket list that you think deserve a wake up call?
Well, in this position, you got to scratch and claw your way all the way to the top. So really, there isn't a set group of individuals that I would like to get in the ring with. Overall, I would like to get in and tango with each and every one of them if I had the opportunity. I have actually had the luxury of facing members of the SCU, both Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, but have yet to mix it up with Christopher Daniels. And given his past, I think that we would have a very interesting evolution in a matchup one-on-one. So that would be a one that does stand out to me. But really, anybody and everybody, I think that I have a great opportunity to tell great stories, and I think that stories is what a lot of people look forward to. And I think no matter who you put me in there with, I think we'd be able to tell one hell of a story.
All right, amazing. So tell people who may not know who you are, and that's fine. Wrestling is such a big bubble. Tell
Shame on you if you
people,
don't know who I am.
tell people some of your awesome matches. Maybe not the AEW ones because everyone's probably watched those, but tell people some matches that they should watch. That's on YouTube or on Fight TV or wherever we can, watch it.
Well, absolutely. So if you just look up Ryzin or if you look up Rob Ryzin on YouTube, you're going to find a lovely library of different matches. On the independents, I was very fortunate to wrestle and have some of my biggest matches with some of the biggest names in the industry. So you can see Ryzin versus Rikishi. You can see Ryzin versus Kazarian in a ladder match. You can see Ryzin versus Matt Hardy, both in a deletion style match called the Woken Deletion and in a ladder match earlier on in my independent career. So you can see all of that. There's many matches with notable independent talent as well. So there's a entire library dedicated to some of the top names in the industry that I've had the pleasure of wrestling, including even people like Jerry Lynn, who is, probably one of the best coaches available out there today to learn from. So I've been very fortunate in the people that I have been able to wrestle on the independent scene and coming up through the independents. And then I had a nice little stint through WWE NXT where you could see me facing off against like Drew McIntyre or Ciampa and Gargano and different things like that. So again, a lovely long library that you guys would be able to check out, and it's nonstop every weekend. Even through this pandemic, now that things have slowly become to normalize, I've had some incredible matches. I just had a casket match a couple of weeks ago in Dallas, Texas, and again, my book is filled with upcoming shows, and I've been very fortunate to have a gaggle of shows, if you would, over the past few weeks. So content is consistent. You can always catch a Ryzin match if you look hard enough.
Awesome, and I can't wait to check out some of those. I know half of those, but I didn't know all of them. So I can't wait to go check some of them out. Hope everyone does too. But I want to get back to AEW for one more question, and it's because I'm surprised I didn't ask you this. How did you get in contact with AEW? Who spoke to you from the underground or from wherever you were at the time? Who said, "Hey, we need you to come here and mix up some wrestling divisions"?
Well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Oh, yeah. Let's not do that on Halloween.
Well, the truth is that it was a collective group of people who had seen my content and who have seen the stuff that I was able to provide in order to get there. It never ends. Again, it's very important that you are as vocal as you can be on social media, and there isn't one set person that came to me. It was a plethora of people, of individuals there who saw the benefit in giving me my opportunity. And then ever since I've had my opportunity, I just refuse to leave. So I just show up and no, I'm just kidding about that. I know there's going to be independent wrestlers trying to show up left and right. But no, I just, again, am very grateful for the opportunities that I've had so far. And, for those who have given me the opportunity, I feel blessed. And I continue to feel blessed and will continue to break new barriers and make my presence known in AEW going forward.
All right. Amazing. Let's get to the final few questions, and it's where do you want to see yourself in the next 2 years? If it's working with AEW, maybe going to Impact, WWE, where would you think you'd shine brighter?
Well, I think that the writing is already on the wall. I think that All Elite Wrestling is not only the premier professional wrestling company out there today, but it is where I am fortunate enough to be making my presence known. So I do see myself in AEW in some capacity. That would be the ultimate goal, is to officially be a full-time member of the roster and to be focused and storyline driven to make, of course, the best the best I can out of myself and to help continue to elevate the already elite, all elite wrestling. So that's where I see myself. I've already, had a cup of coffee in WWE NXT. I've already dipped my toes into the water of Impact. But really, my heart and my desire is with AEW. I am with All Elite. And that's where I would love to stay. So, and of course, throughout that time, I love being out on the independents. I love traveling. I love meeting new people. I love wrestling for new companies all throughout the U.S. or the world. I've wrestled in Canada and many different places. So as I continue to pursue full-time wrestling with AEW or whomever it may be next, I, of course, would love to continue to grow my congregation all across the independents.
All right, amazing. All right, and tell us a dream match that you may have. It could be anyone from the independents, and it could be anyone that's signed, but someone that you want to get your hands on, and it could be a special type of match, casket match, Hell in a Cell match, anything. What would you want? What would be your dream match?
That is a very good question. One that I always seem to trip up getting asked. Because I am a huge believer that manifestation and making things happen for yourself. And being young and coming up in high school and things of that nature, the Hardys were always a huge influence on me. And who can say that they've wrestled in what most consider one of the most popular matches being a deletion style match? And check, I've done that. So maybe an opportunity to, I've already had a ladder match with Matt Hardy, so maybe it would be having a ladder match with Jeff Hardy. Maybe that would be the next echelon of my continued career. But really, other than that, there is, again, any and all challenges, any and all wrestlers. I would be happy and I would welcome any of them with open arms.
All right, awesome. Now, tell us where we can find you on social media. Tell us where we can support you with merch. Like you showed us, you wrote a book. You have your own, I forgot what they're. I'm so bad at this. I forgot what Wrestling Buddy, Wrestling
Buddy,
Wrestling Ryzin Buddy. Well, that's awesome. I gotta pick myself up one of those. That's awesome. That's awesome. I haven't seen many people do that, so that's really cool. But yeah, you have so much. Where can we support you? How can we support you? What merch can we buy?
Absolutely. So, of course, I have a pro wrestling tees store. So if you look up www.prowrestlingtees.com/Rob Ryzin, they kept the Rob in my name, for link purposes. But absolutely, you can find a ton of different Ryzin apparel there. And then, of course, through independent shows, you can find promo pics, pins, stickers, 8x10s, you name it. And then, of course, on Amazon, you can pick up my best-selling book, Hell of a Confession, which is a book that I authored myself, where people, members of my congregation, actually told me their dirtiest, wildest confessions, and I composed them into this book. And, of course, kept them completely anonymous, as a good reverend should. But I was able to put that into an entire book, and you could buy it at my shows, autographed by me, or, of course, you could get it on Amazon Prime, where you would be able to have it for yourself. As far as social media is concerned, you can find me on basically all major social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Now, I must warn you that I'm actually in the transition of trying to move my Facebook page because for some reason my fan page seems to have been locked out. And then my personal or my normal page is flooded with friend requests, and I cannot get to them all. And so therefore, I would suggest, if you want to follow me, my most active would be on Twitter and Instagram. So, and that's going to be Instagram.com/Hail Ryzin, HailRyzin, and same handle for Twitter as well.
The cult is getting bigger. We got more followers. I hope I could join. I'll find out how I could join after this video.
Yes.
But all right.
With every show, the congregation grows.
That's amazing. I hope you come to New York. I hope I see you live, and I hope I can join.
Well, I before the pandemic, I had just wrestled in Deer Park, New York. So I don't know how close you are to that.
I'm pretty close. I'm in Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure that's in Long Island. Is it? Deer Park's in Long Island.
Yeah, pretty close to Long Island. It was yes. So yes, but that so I don't know. But yeah, anywhere and everywhere, you definitely will see the Reverend of Sin over the coming weeks, months, and years. To a show near you. So I do look forward to you joining the congregation on a consistent basis, and of course meeting me in person at one of these shows.
All right, and final question. This is a fun one. What is your favorite horror movie, and are you going to watch it on Halloween?
Ooh, well, of course, for me, Halloween is every day. I celebrate Halloween all year round, and that's no joke. That's the truth. My arms are covered in horror villains and different things. But my absolute favorite horror movie is Scream, because I think in the mid-90s or early 90s, mid-90s, when that movie had come out, it was a resurgence of the horror genre and the slasher genre. And so, of course, and then I was right at the ripe age as a teenager to really take off and follow that movie. So Scream is definitely my number one. And then I would say a close second is actually the silent film of Nosferatu, which came out in 1922. So those are my two, but really I am a horror, if you want to say that. And there's no horror movie left unturned. I would watch any and all, and I've already been very active all October long, indulging in every horror movie that I can get my grubby little hands on. Most recently, I do want to say that The Terrifier is a fantastic horror movie, an incredible slasher for those who have not seen it. It is I think that Art the Clown, who is the main antagonist in the movie, is going to be right up there with Freddy and Jason and Pennywise and characters like that over the next couple of years.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll definitely check out the movie. We'll definitely have to check it out. All right. All right. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for telling us how we can become better, how we learn more about yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for watching as well.
Absolutely. Thank you to everybody here. Thank you to the new members of the congregation. I look forward to welcoming you with open arms.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and it made your Halloween a little bit more spooky. You know, it took a lot for me to interview Rob Ryzin. He's a very interesting, terrifying individual. And, yeah, you know, I don't know if I left that interview the same way I came in, but go check it out. Go tell your friends. Go just follow him on all platforms of social media. It's all in the bio below. Follow me on all platforms of social media. All my information is in the bio below. If you have not yet, check out my last interview with Alex Shelley, one half of the Motor City Machine Guns, former Impact champion. And, you know, like I said, big interviews are coming with Ring of Honor, Impact, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and maybe NXT UK. I don't want to give out too much.